If you have questions, we're going to try to get as many in as we can here this morning. Coming into the studio is the Executive Vice President of MVHS, and it's Rob Schofield, and Nancy Patarini is the President and CEO of the Page Group, and also Aaron Gigliotti, who's in studio. Gelati. Do I say that right? I'm sorry. I should have done that properly. Happy birthday yesterday, by the way. That we all know about. How to pronounce your name?
Can't say your name when you were born, though.
I used to be a butcher at Big M. Butcher names, right? All right. Rob and Nancy are in here now, and this is a great opportunity. Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
A great opportunity for us all to be able to ask some questions and get some answers right from the source. And please, if you could just pull that mic nice or get tight on the microphone. Let's start right now. Hospital project going downtown, is that a done deal at this point?
That's a done deal at this point, correct.
Okay. And why downtown? We've had so many say, why not somewhere else? Why downtown?
Well, when we began this project, we looked at a number of locations in the community. We obviously have to make sure that the building is in the location that best serves our patients. So where do our patients come from? The vast majority of them come from the downtown region. We also need to make sure that the infrastructure to support a building that size is there. Mm-hmm. We had someone recommend, why not put it in Westmoreland? Well, the water, power, and sewage systems certainly can't support a building of that size. That's another reason to do so. But I think more importantly, I think it's important to note that we can create a downtown medical campus that helps support all the growth that's currently happening in Utica. I love going to Barrack Street, love going to Bag Square. Yeah. Now we can close that gap with this medical campus in between.
And I have to ask, we've heard a lot, and some come off the quoting facts and figures that I do question because I'm not sure that we're dealing with simple opinion or facts and figures. But I want to ask, has there been any study on the hospitals around the country that have moved into a downtown area and the poverty and the decline that's supposedly, almost as if they're comparing it to if a casino were to open, and look at what happened in Atlantic City, the blight that occurs. What have you found hospitals that go downtown throughout the country?
Well, it really has to do with how much the facility partners with the community. You can put a large facility in the middle of a downtown location and not do so in coordination with the rest of the city, and maybe you haven't accomplished anything but a new hospital. Yeah. But if you take a look at Albany Medical Center, for example, they did some significant renovations and changes to their medical campus, which incorporated a lot of commercial retail businesses, a lot of private development around. And they've made a significant change to the downtown Albany area.
And one thing I do have to, one observation that I've had is we keep talking about how terrible the areas are around hospitals. Yet we want to keep St. Luke's where it is. There's plenty of residential around St. Luke's, and I don't see a great deal of poverty around St. Luke's. I mean, if we were to compare it to our own community, the hospitals don't seem to breed poverty and blight in our own area.
Well, I would hope not.
Right? I just say, it's funny how we say, if you move it down there, there's going to be some big change, because moving it from where it is now to downtown is not that much of a difference. It's still within the city area, the metro area.
I agree.
You know,
I don't know that putting it down there is going to make downtown worse.
Right.
As a matter of fact, I'd like to think that maybe we'll make the busy corner busy again.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm there. Manaski.
What's the timeline for this to be built? When would a new hospital downtown open?
Well, our hope is, and there's so much that has to happen to get to this project to completion, but we would hope that in the second quarter of May of 2022, we would move patients and move into the facility.
What happens to the older, like St. E's now and Faxton? You sell those, you demo them? Do they become remote locations for certain services?
Well, as you know, we have 3 campuses that we operate, St. Elizabeth, St. Luke's, and the Faxton campus. We will do a feasibility study on all 3 to determine what are the best reuse purposes of those 3 campuses. Our goal is to keep one of them for us. At this point, our working assumption is the Faxton will remain open. Our cancer program is there, urgent care is there, dialysis program is there. And then we would work to market the other 2 facilities, hopefully sell them, reuse them for something that would be best suited for those locations. I mean, they're both great places for other businesses because of the power availability, so on and so forth. Unfortunately, because of their age, they're just not great places to have hospitals.
What about staff? Obviously, you're taking 2 or 3 hospitals. There would be a reduction in staff, or would it increase?
Well, not necessarily. We're not reducing the amount of services that we're providing, so we'll still need the same number of people to take care of the patients that we care for today. The only reason we would have change in staffing is if for some reason the number of patients we take care of reduces.
Got it.
There was I'm going to say a projection, that's not the term I want to use, that it would be like roughly, I want to say 330 beds.
About 400 beds.
400,
Yep.
Was it 430 and it was reduced to 400? Can you talk about how what the process you're going through and trying to gauge how big of a facility you'll have and how many patients you'll need to serve?
We've been working on this for a couple of years. First of all, we've looked at our own data of how many patients we serve going back 10 years. Then we use some national resources to determine what are the trends in healthcare going forward. So we've looked at that going 10 years forward. Also looked at our community. What's happening here? Do we anticipate a lot more people moving here using hospital services or less? We've looked at what the impact from nanotech would be, what the impact of other businesses potentially coming in. With that, we know that currently we're only averaging about anywhere between 325 to 300 patients a day. So we've built a facility, or we're planning to build a facility somewhere between 380 to 400 patients to meet our current needs and with a little bit of growth.
I want to ask Nancy. Nancy Petterini is with the Page Group, President and CEO. I want to ask you, how do you sell this? And have we done a good job selling it up to this point? There is a group out there, of course, that's, I've driven on Columbia Street. I've seen people picketing. How do we sell this and convince people this is good for downtown?
Well, our role is actually not to sell it. The outreach process for it to really work is really to give people lots of opportunity for input and keep a flow of information going back to all the people who are affected by and will benefit by the project. So you heard Bob talk before about the importance of working with the community, and that's the one thing we see. It's a good thing, by the way.
Yeah.
There's a lot of passion in this community for the projects that have been and plans that have been developed before, right? So that's what we're about, is let's talk about those plans and what's your vision for what the potential of this healthcare campus.
And speaking of the vision, we had a group on just the other day talking about how, well, this is just like urban renewal back in the 60s, which just tore everything down. At the same time, there's some plenty of blight over in that area. You'll be replacing an area that is that certainly is struggling. I'm not sure that private money is going to turn that around in 10 years or 15 years or 20 years. What does your research show on what this will do? And this is for either one of you. What this will do for a downtown area?
Well, we know that putting a facility this size that brings anywhere from 2,500 plus people downtown on a daily basis hopefully supports the businesses that are there. Now, a lot of people will say, well, St. Elizabeth and its employees don't support all the businesses in South Utica. I would disagree with that. And also with St. Luke's, I go to work in the morning. Some mornings in St. Luke's, I can't get into the parking lot because the Dunkin' Donuts line is going out into Upperstone Road.
Not to mention all the lunch places, the deliveries, all of that stuff.
Now, granted, a nurse that works in the ICU is not leaving the hospital to go out to lunch. But there's a lot of other people that work in the facility, people that visit us, vendors, physicians, so on and so forth. So I'm hoping that it creates a little excitement and synergy downtown where people can leave after work and go over to Saranac Thursday night in the summertime, or drive around the corner to Taylor and Cook for dinner that night or something.
Is there? I've also heard it talked about. We don't. We have a great facility. We have great facilities right now. Others have said, we've spoken to someone that has worked inside, for instance, St. Luke's, that there is a great need for a better facility, a modern facility, and then the next step from there is, will a modern facility attract new, talented physicians and experts in the field of medicine?
Well, first of all, I'm a registered nurse. I worked as a staff nurse at St. Elizabeth for a number of years. That facility is 100 years old next year. Faxton St. Luke's, the St. Luke's campus will be 70 years old next year. Those facilities were built to meet the needs of patient care 100 years ago.
Yeah.
That's changed. We have some bedrooms on our hospitals that, first of all, majority are semi-private, so there's 2 patients in a room, and sometimes those patients are so close, almost as close as you and I are right now.
Right.
Imagine not feeling well and being in a bedroom with somebody who's not feeling well.
Okay, we've been there.
Yeah.
We've
Yeah.
been there. So I know exactly what you're talking about.
Creating a modern facility that makes it more attractive for and comfortable for patients to be
Yeah.
in, but also does create an environment that people want to work in. We now try to recruit physicians. They have to come to a town where they have to cover 2 emergency rooms. So therefore, on any given night, they may need to travel to St. Luke's and then over to St. Elizabeth. It's a huge disadvantage for recruitment. Physicians would love to come to a brand new facility, brand new state-of-the-art ICUs, ORs, but also just one emergency room to go to.
All right. I do have people on the lines, and I want to let them know we're going to take you. We'll extend this past the top of the hour break, and we'll take phone calls after that. But I'm running out of time, so I'm going to ask you throw one more out there.
Let's talk about properties. How many more properties would you need to acquire downtown? Is that still ongoing, or do you have everything that you would need?
No, the process is still ongoing. The assessments for the properties in the 25-acre area have been completed. We're waiting for the reports to come back. We've sent letters to the property owners communicating that once we receive that, we will then touch base with them. They're very anxious to know what that timeline is. So once we get through all the governmental approvals, we get the appraisals done, then we can give more information to the landowners so they can prepare for their next steps.
And are you confident? The big part of this, of course, is money. Much of the money, a big part of this, half of it has to be raised. The other part is coming from the state. Are you confident that the money is now secure from the state? And are you confident you're going to be able to raise this money?
Yes, we're confident.
Where are you right now? Can you say that as far as
From
the
a dollar?
attracting private investors?
Well, we haven't attracted any private investors. At this particular point, we're confident that the state money is coming. We've already begun the process for the request for application for those dollars. Secondly, we're also working with different lending institutions for the portion that we will need to borrow from. We are looking for some philanthropic opportunities here. That plan hasn't quite started yet. We want to make sure that we have something to sell before we start doing that. And right now, we're in the planning phases. But we're confident we'll raise the necessary $480 million to make this project happen.
We're looking and all excited about a new arterial that is being completed. I was extremely excited about that exit. Having to divert and go around. A new hospital, a brand new state-of-the-art hospital. Big for a community.
It is.
Yeah. I think big for this community.
Huge.
So we'll talk more, and you're okay to take some questions. Some people on the phones will have questions. We'll open up the phone lines coming up. If you're waiting on the line, I apologize for the wait, but hang for a few minutes, and we'll get with you right after the break. 736-0186. They're busy now, but they will open up. 736-0186. Of course, we're talking with Rob Schofield and Nancy Patarini. Rob, of course, is from the Mohawk Valley Health Systems, and Nancy is from the Page Group. Details coming up on WIBX.